Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for coming to the Steam Business Update. Please welcome to the stage from Valve, DJ Powers and Nathaniel Blue.
Hey, guys. How's it going? It's been a long day, and I'm sure you guys are restless, so we'll try to make this fun and exciting. This is DJ Powers. I'm Nathaniel Blue. We work on the Steam Business team. We know a bunch of you. I think we've ran into a bunch that were like, hey, I know you. And we're excited to be here, and we're really excited that you guys all came to Steam Dev Days. And we just want to thank you all for coming. If we didn't have you guys making great content, we would not have the Steam that we have today. And we are super thankful. So hats off to you guys for all the great games,
Absolutely.
great content.
Should we jump in?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right,
So we're going to talk a little bit about how Steam's grown over the last year. And we're also going to talk a little bit about sort of new features that are coming up and sort of how they apply to you guys, how they'll apply to Steam machines. And it's just meant to sort of be an overview of like, hey, how's Steam growing? What's going on with Steam? And where are we going? So a little bit of this is, we'll also talk a little bit about our tools, too, that we've been working on. And I know a lot of you guys have experienced over the last 3 to 6 months. We're really humbled and excited about the growth this year. We reached a huge number just at the end of December with 75 million active users. These aren't user accounts. These are actually users that own a product or have been active in the community in the last 90 days. And it is a big number. We're a worldwide marketplace, as you guys all know. We have 7.5 million concurrent users on Steam, and we support 25 languages and 5 currencies worldwide. The goal of supporting all the currencies and all the different languages is that people have a great experience on Steam, that they can understand what's happening and they can communicate well in the community. And we also support 40 different payment methods, and that really helps people transact and hopefully have a great experience. We also have global content servers so that they can get their content quickly. So this is the graph that I was talking a little bit about. This is our growth last year, and it's pretty massive. If you looked at 2010 and then you looked at 2011 into 2012, you'd see this kind of nice growth happening, but then you see 2013, it just goes crazy.
And we announced 65 million just 3 months ago. So the growth just over the holiday period and people getting involved in the holiday sale and other parts of Steam that they're excited about has really propelled that.
This is approximately 26,000 new users a day. It's kind of hard to get your head around that, but it's pretty awesome. And a lot of this is fueled by all the new games. So this year we shipped tons of games. DJ's going to talk about that a little bit. And a lot of that really propelled the new users. Lots of great events, early access this year, just tons of different things that brought new people to the platform. And it's just growing and growing, and it's really exciting for us. Hopefully it is for you guys too. This is a breakdown of our sales worldwide. You can see that about 41% of the sales are coming out of North America, 40% out of Western Europe, and then the rest is spread out across the world. 2 notable regions that have been growing very quickly over the last few years have been Russia and Brazil. And those are really tied closely to us supporting those currencies, supporting reals, supporting rubles, and also their local payment methods in those areas. And I'm going to talk a little bit more about how we think about expansion. We really focused hard on Russia and Brazil, and we plan to focus hard this year on expanding to more territories.
And we're going to go a little bit deeper. Blue's going to go a little bit deeper into Russia specifically, but that market 2 years ago, if you saw this slide, was 2%. So it's had just a huge growth over the last couple of years.
So the way we think about expansion, we really take a 3-part approach. First, we think about, we research and price products properly. There's a lot to think about here, and I won't get into all the deep details, but it really comes down to purchase power parity. It's all about, hey, what's the cost? It's as simple as really like, what's the cost of a gallon of milk in Russia? What's the cost of a gallon of milk in the US? And you'll notice that it's not a direct conversion. In Russia, for instance, it's roughly 40% below the currency conversion. And so that tells us, well, products shouldn't be the same price. A $59.99 USD product shouldn't be a direct conversion to rubles. It just doesn't make sense. It's too expensive. And so we look at that and we try to research the territory and figure out, hey, what is the right price so that the most people can play games and enjoy them. Also, having affordable games, it sort of has a secondary benefit, and that is that it's easier to choose to purchase things than to pirate them. Typically, if you look at markets that have high piracy, you'll actually see this problem. You'll be like, wow, the cost of living, the purchase power parity, there's an imbalance, and that's causing a lot of these issues. And we're really excited to find a way to be able to offer products at the right price. And in the end, it's a big win for everybody, for users and also for developers. We also support the local currency. That's a big piece just to improve the user experience, and it also eliminates the currency cost conversion. We want to make sure that they can get their games at the right price, and that it's not odd to them when they're buying a game and they're looking at it like, well, how much is this in my currency? And they're trying to do the math in their head. We want to make sure it's very clear. And then the other is supporting local payment methods, and this is big because in certain markets, department stores are the payment method of choice. Others, it's going to 7-Elevens and paying with cash and getting credit. Others, there's just all these different methods, and it just depends on the territory. Some it's just cash. There's still places where they want to buy cars with cash. So we want to make sure that we have the right payments methods in place. So this is just a quick dive into Russia. This is an example of when we supported rubles. We started supporting rubles at the end of 2011, and in 12 months we saw a 208% year-over-year growth. We started supporting payment methods like Kiwi, Yandex, WebMoney, and many kiosk methods. And we also saw a growth in users of over 43%. So the total users lifetime on Steam grew 43% in 1 year. It works. It's what needs to happen to grow in that territory. In addition, this is Brazil. We started supporting Brazil reals at the end of 2012, and we saw again a big growth, 75% year over year in sales, and we saw huge user growth, actually 80% user growth that first year. So this is sort of how the world looks right now. We support 5 currencies. And they're worldwide, so anywhere in the world that is not highlighted here is transacting in US dollars. And most places you need an international credit card to buy a game on Steam. And this year, we are planning on doing a huge expansion, which is really exciting. And here is the plan. So we've been working hard on our tools, and DJ is going to talk a little more about that in a few minutes. And part of that is it gives us flexibility to work with you guys, for you guys to help update pricing, for us to work towards offering more currencies in a more orderly fashion. And so notably, some of the territories we're targeting for 2014 are Japan, Turkey, Ukraine, Norway, Canada, Mexico, Australia, New Zealand, and a bunch of countries in Southeast Asia. In addition to supporting the local currency and supporting different payment methods, we also started rolling out gift cards this year. And it gives a great way for folks to get cash into their wallets. It also opens up gifting. So it opens up the ability for folks to buy gifts for people. And we see this around Christmas time. It goes crazy. And so we started out in the US this last year, and it was very successful. You can see some of the retailers we work at. And then about a month ago, we started releasing cards at retailers in Western Europe. And we are planning on also trying to chase the new currencies at the same time and bring out cards as quick as we can to open up more ways to play games. I'm going to go ahead and transition to DJ. He's going to talk a little bit about a few of our new tools.
Thanks, Nathaniel. Blue. Sorry, we call him Blue. I can't say Nathaniel with a straight face. So Blue talked a bunch about how Steam's growing in terms of users, how Steam's growing into new territories. One of the other growth patterns we've really seen a bunch in the last couple of years is content in general. You guys are producing amazing high-quality content and at a quicker pace than you ever have before. And so what that's done is what we realized about a year ago is we were unable to publish the amount of content that was coming onto the platform and was available. And that put our users in kind of a tough spot. They wanted all these great games that were being created, and We weren't able to publish them all, and that's not a position Steam wants to be in. So we think it's important to get great content to our customers, and we made a dedicated effort at the beginning of this year to solve that problem. And so we took a hard look at our tools, tried to figure out where improvements could be made, where we could get ourselves out of the way and get you closer to your customers so that you could get games to them, get updates to them faster, and get customers what they want. So we did that. We spent the last year really working hard on our tools, and this is the results that we've seen. And we're pretty proud of this. If you looked back at this graph from 2009, 2010, if I had those numbers here, the numbers wouldn't change much from 2009 to 2012. We shipped between 300 and 400 games. Our staff was the same size. Our tools were the same. We shipped the same amount of games. So we were able to go in, look at our tools, make some really good improvements. Some places that were really sticky, we got them out of the way. And you can see we shipped 66% more games this year than we did the previous year. We expect this graph to continue to go in this direction. There's a ton of great content out there, and we want to get it on the platform. And making these improvements has allowed us to do that. When you're looking at this graph, 636 games, complete games that we shipped on Steam last year. We also shipped an additional over 1,000 pieces of DLC and a bunch of software. So you're talking close to 2,000 pieces of content that were shipped on the platform last year. And like I said, we expect that to grow. So I want to dive just a little more deeply into the actual tools and what we changed and why we changed them and why it matters to you. The big one here is we've enabled you guys to ship content directly to your customers. If you have an update to your game, you don't have to go through a cert process. You don't have to talk to anyone at Steam. You just push it out to your customers. We trust you guys to make good updates and to push quality stuff out. If there's a problem, we understand that our customers will find it and let us know immediately, and we can get that fixed. But you guys are incented to make good stuff and get it to your customers fast. We want you talking to those guys and have a very quick feedback loop. You're going to make better games that way, and customers are going to have a better experience in your titles. In addition to just letting you ship that content directly, we've opened up our marketing tools, so you also don't need to talk to someone at Steam. So when you ship your update, now you can go onto your game page, update that game page, tell people what's going on. You can go into your community hub, make an announcement, let your customers know that the update's available, and all of that without talking to anyone at Steam. We've also added Google Analytics support, so if you're running marketing in other places, this is a nice way to kind of keep track of how that's doing. We have a developer forum that we've put together over the last year. There's 3,000 developers in that forum. It's very active. It's a great place if you have hard questions. If you're stuck somewhere, whether it be on a business problem or a technical problem, you can go in there, ask that question, explain your situation, and someone will get back to you that's been through that exact process, has come out with a good result, and can help you through that problem. And again, you can get answers fast, keep moving fast without having to wait for someone at Steam to get in touch with. And often the answers are better because they've really gone through the process. A couple features we have coming soon in our tools that we feel are really important for discoverability of your games, which we recognize is kind of the next hurdle for us, right? We've tackled how do we get games on Steam. Now we got a bunch of games on Steam, so how do we make them discoverable? A couple of the things we want to do here to really make that possible for you guys is, one, request promotions. So right now you have to coordinate with someone at Steam to run a promotion. We want to open that up so that you can go into the tools and say, I want to run my game at 50% off as a week-long sale, and I want it to start next week or February 1st, whatever. And you hit approve, put in those details, and it'll run. And you don't have to talk to anyone at Steam to do that. You can test things out and make better decisions about how you want to promote your game on Steam. In addition, front page visibility. We all know the front page is important. We'd like to fix that problem. You know, we think shelf space is, in theory, a bad thing, but as it is right now, we have a front page, and it's important to be on it when you release something. So when you release a game, and this feature's in beta now, and we're evolving it, and it'll continue to iterate, but when you release a game right now, you get guaranteed front page visibility. And we're able to watch how that does and make decisions with you about how it should be marketing going forward, but you're going to get your game on the front page when it launches, and your customers are going to know it's there. And you're guaranteed to have that time, which is great. In addition, we have what we call visibility rounds, and these are arguably even more important, the visibility rounds are available to you for later in the life of your project. And so when you make a big update to your game, or you have some event going on in your game, and you want customers to know about it, you can choose to get exposure on the front page. You just hit, now's the time, I want my game on the front page. All your fans know, they can see what's going on in your game. They know, they've seen the article about the big update. They come to Steam, they see your game there, and they're going to be more naturally excited about what's going on. So we're really pumped about those improvements. And just kind of an overall comment on tool changes that we're making. All of these things that we're doing, anytime we look at a way to improve tools, and I've talked about this a little bit, but it's about removing us from the process. We just want you to be closer to your community. You're going to get better feedback from them if you can talk to them directly without a conduit in the middle, slowing things down or adding any kind of complexity. So along that vein, other things we've done to kind of improve your involvement with the community and just the community in general for customers is we've made a lot of improvements to what we call the community hub and the community in general. We're constantly working on this. We have a whole team that thinks about this all the time and ways they can evolve the community and make it more interesting for customers. And if you're not familiar, the community hub is, if you go to your game page on the top right-hand corner, there's a toggle you can flip into your community hub. And this is where users are coming to share experiences and connect with other fans of this franchise and this game and people of like mind. And one of the great ways that customers can interact here is user-generated content. So whether that's through your workshop, if they're creating items and submitting them and they're getting into the game for other people to enjoy, or videos or screenshots, these are all ways that users can celebrate the game they love and contribute to the overall fun for everybody. User-created guides are another great example where if I'm passionate about a game or maybe a particular class in a game or I'm an expert in this particular thing, I can write a guide about it and explain to others how I tackle this particular character or this part of the game. I can submit that guide to the community. The community will then rate it and say, that was awesome, thumbs up, or that was terrible, you should never write a guide again. People can be mean. I know from playing a lot of Dota, people can be mean. But what this does is as a customer, I can come in, a new customer, I can come in and see what the community thought was the best guides out there. And it gives me the ability to get this very useful tool and get more involved in the game and get better at the game quicker. And Dota's a great example where it's a very complex game, and being able to get information to get better at it quickly makes the game a lot more fun for everybody. And so this is great for customers and for developers alike. There's some other topics here: mobile, reviews, early access, and trading cards. We're going to go into those just a little deeper on these next slides. So the Steam mobile app, this released a couple years ago. We have over 7 million users of the Steam mobile app. It's evolved into its own community in a lot of ways. Users are split roughly evenly between iOS and Android. And what this gets you, it's an extension of the store, and it's an extension of the community in a lot of ways. So if I'm a customer and I use the app and I'm on my way home, I can shop on the go. I can buy something. I can tell my computer at home to remote download it, and when I get home, it's there for me and ready to go. Awesome feature. But the community is there as well, and so my friends are here, and I can chat with them, and I can participate in the community features. And I can set up, what you see on the iPhone up there. You can set up a game to be ready when you get home and do all that stuff while you're on the go, staying connected to Steam while you're not tethered to your computer. I keep wanting to hit that button, but I really shouldn't. I'll use this one, I promise. Okay. User reviews. This is a new feature for us. This released a couple months ago. In just under 60 days, we've had 1.2 million reviews submitted, so people are using it. It's been successful from that standpoint. But more importantly, it's really the reviews have been. We've been very excited about how thoughtful the reviews have been, and a lot of the reason for that is there's no overall score, right? You're coming in here as a user and you're getting honest feedback from somebody, and you're able to share your experience as a customer. And what's nice is you can tell, yes, someone's played this game. The person I'm reading the review from has played this game, and here's how many hours that person's played this game, whether it be 10, 100, 1,000. they've really experienced this, and they're sharing thoughts that are well thought out. And I can come in as a customer, and I know what's important to me, and I can find reviews that speak to that, and whether they're positive or negative, it helps me make a good decision about the game I'm about to buy, and it makes it more likely that I'm going to enjoy the game once I do buy it, because I've gotten a lot of good information up front. These are designed to evolve with your game, so as we all know, games are no longer a ship and forget mentality, right? Games last for years, and we're going to update them for a long time and continue to iterate and make them better. And reviews are similar. A review that comes out at launch might not make sense 2 years from now. And so we put more weight on more current reviews, more recent reviews, so that when you come in, you're getting the most current information. And for developers, it's a valuable source of feedback. I mean, if you release a game and a bunch of reviews come out and half of them say, I love this feature, and the other half say, I really struggled with this piece, that's great information for you going into your next update and figuring out how to iterate your game. You're just getting really good, honest feedback from those customers.
Another note real quick on reviews is that you can also respond to reviews. So if someone has just misunderstood something, you can actually respond to them and say, actually, I think you missed it here. This is how you can actually fix that. And then the customer can go in and actually change the review if they want. And then people can rate them up. Hey, this was helpful, this wasn't helpful. And that also will weight how they're displayed on the store.
And perfect segue to give it back to Nathaniel to talk about early access.
So most of you maybe saw the talk on early access, which was awesome. I just caught the end of it. And this space has kind of blown us all away. We saw a bunch of games that we really wanted on Steam. This is actually how early access started. Is we were playing a bunch of games, and we were like, this game's awesome. It's an alpha, and I wish it was on Steam. And then we were like, but it's not done. So how do we ship it? And that was really how early access started. We were like, these are awesome games. They're really fun. They're really playable. They might not be finished, but that doesn't really matter. What matters is it's a fun game and that these games are developing over time, and that's their plan and their strategy. So we went ahead and made early access of it. All right, this area needs to communicate well to customers. It needs to tell them the state of the game, and it needs to be an open communication between developers and customers to talk about these games. We have over 100 games in this category now. So over a tenth of the games that shipped on Steam this last year were early access games. So if you thought there were a lot, there are a lot. And it's a place where you get your game in the hands of fans who can offer you feedback that's hopefully beneficial to the evolution of the game. We've seen a lot of games go in here, notably a few free-to-plays that have gone in and said, hey, we're going to ship in 3 months. They've got in there, they've gotten feedback from customers, and they've said, wow, we were monetizing totally wrong, and people hated this certain feature of the game, and we're actually going to go back to the drawing board and change this. And then they've been in there, and they've been working with their fans and working on how the game should be balanced before they actually go to release. And that's a huge win if they can catch that before they hit a release date. In addition, it really is, like I said, this relationship with your fans, and it really is, as a developer, it's your responsibility to talk to those fans and to have a communication with them to clearly state, hey, this is the state of the game, this is where we're going, these are the features we have, these are the features we want to have, and this is our plan as we're heading towards release, and this is what we're planning. So we're super excited about it. Hopefully, how many people in this room have an early access game right now? That's awesome. So you guys know all about early access. Don't even need to talk about it. And then trading cards. This was another cool feature that came out this year, right around the summer sale. And at the core at Valve, we're a game company. We love making games. We love balancing them, figuring out new features, and rewarding fans for playing games. And so a bunch of people at Valve had been working on this for a while, and we're like, let's find a way that we can reward customers for just playing games on Steam in general. Not necessarily that game or this game, just when they play, they get rewarded. And then that they can talk about whatever they've achieved and also wear their hat that says, hey, I love this game. As you may know, each game can have a set of cards. The set of cards can vary, and you can earn those cards, half of those cards, by playing the game, or in free-to-play games by buying items. And then to get the other cards, users get to go and trade and buy cards in the Steam market, and then they can go ahead and to complete their set. once they complete their set, then they can craft those into a badge. You can see down here Super Meat Boy's badge and the levels. And then those badges can level up, and you can get more XP for your profile. You'll get a drop of wallpaper, emoticons, and these are all things you can show off on your profiles. You can see Sean really likes Dota. I think it says he has 1,100 hours. Good for Sean. So, and so when we were looking at this going to the holiday sale, we were like, hey, we should find a way to sort of even step this up a little bit further. How can we drop items, maybe in-game items, that would actually expose people to other free-to-play games? And free-to-play games, in the past, we've struggled with, like, how do we feature them in sales? How do we, do we sell packs? What do we do that's going to engage users during the sale when the most amount of people are on Steam and the most amount of people are playing games? How do we do that? So we thought, well, why don't we just drop in-game items? Why don't we try that out and see how it goes? The result was pretty staggering. We had 1.7 million holiday card badges crafted. That meant 1.7 million in-game items given out for these different 10 games that were featured. In addition, 2 million snow globe card trades, tons of users interacting and trading with each other, and approximately 2 million daily community market transactions. So people were transacting like crazy. Those are in-game items. Those are wallpapers. Those are emoticons. Those are trading cards. They're all trading and selling and having a great time. So we're really excited about it. It's really just the start, and we're still evolving sort of, hey, what's the game of Steam? What's it like? So this is sort of the start. I'm going to transition to DJ. He's going to tell you a little more about Steam machines and some of the upcoming features for the living room.
All right, this is the big finish. We've talked a ton already about Steam machines today. I know you guys are well versed in the subject now, and so we're not going to spend a ton of time on this. But there are a couple features I want to tell you about, and just philosophically, I think it's important to reiterate that our goal with Steam machines is really in answer to things we've been hearing from our customers over the last couple of years. When we talk to our customers, we hear, I have a huge library of games. I own 100 games on Steam. I love my community. All my friends are there. But as soon as I leave my bedroom or my office, wherever my desktop is, they're all gone. Right? I walk into my living room, and none of that exists anymore. I have to start all over with some other console or whatever. And so we want to answer that question. We want to expand Steam for our customers into other parts of the house, and that's really where this all comes from. A couple of the features that are going to be important for us to make Steam a great experience in the living room. One is in-home streaming. And this is coming out. This is actually released yesterday in a very closed beta, but it'll be opening up hopefully relatively soon. And this feature is all about backwards compatibility. The most likely case is I'm a Steam user. I have a Windows machine in my bedroom or my office. Lots of games there, like we talked about. I buy a Steam machine. I hook it up in my living room, and I want to be able to play those games that aren't yet available on my Steam machine. In-home streaming gets you that. So over your in-home network, any two machines that you have in your house running Steam can talk to each other and stream back and forth. So you can stream from that Windows machine over your network to your Steam machine in the living room. The beta is so that we can check out use cases and find, if your refrigerator's in the way of your two machines, what does that do to the network, and solve those problems and make sure that the streaming is as good as possible. But we're really excited about this. We want to make sure that I own 100 games on Steam. I can play those games in the living room. That's very important to this whole process. Another feature that has been released, this just released recently as well, is family sharing. And if you're going to have a living room environment and have games in there and you're in a public place, this is very important to have some of these features. So remembering familiar users. There's probably going to be multiple people playing on your Steam machine in the living room. You want to easily be able to change between accounts. So this gets you that. Support for local co-op. I want to sit on the couch and play with my buddies, like I did when I was in college.
At the same time, you guys both want to be able to get achievements, right?
Yeah,
That's
exactly.
what this does.
So local co-op gets you all that. Limited library lending. This is the one I like. Reminds me of my childhood. This is I'm able to tell my machine in the living room or any Steam or any computer running Steam that I want this machine to be able to play my account. So any game in my account, anyone who comes here can play those games. Now, if I log in elsewhere and I'm playing a game elsewhere, it won't allow dual instances of people playing my account. But if I'm not playing elsewhere, anyone can come in, log in, and play any game that I own. And the reason it kind of harkens back to my youth is, I remember my family having a Nintendo in the living room and a stack of discs on it. And anyone that wandered into that living room could play any of those cartridges that were sitting on my Nintendo. So this kind of gets you that feature. It gives you that living room feel of there are a bunch of games that belong to this machine. And then kids' accounts and parental settings. You're going to have kids running around in your living room, and maybe you don't want them to see the mature content you're playing. So this allows you to tailor what your kids can see, what they can purchase, and allow them to use Steam in whatever way you feel is appropriate. And finally, just kind of an overall view of Steam machines before we close up. We released the 14 Steam machines, or revealed them at CES. We're very excited about all of them. They're going to be really interesting. They offer a wide variety of prices and specs, which is awesome for customers. If you're going to be able to, if price is important to you, you're going to be able to make those trade-offs and figure out the right machine for you. If you're all about performance, you're going to be able to make those kind of trade-offs. These OEMs we work with know their audience. They know what their customers enjoy, and they're going to be able to deliver that to them in a friendly living room device. And most importantly, regardless of which machine you buy, when you go home and plug it in, you're going to have the same experience across all of them. They're going to boot into Steam OS. They're going to ship with a controller, and you're all going to be playing Steam in your living room and experiencing a nice, friendly ecosystem. So that's all we have for this presentation. We really want to thank you guys again for coming out. It means a lot to us that you're willing to travel all the way to Seattle and spend time with us and talk about all these different things here that we're doing. And we at Valve, as Gabe talked about this morning, we learn from you as much as you're going to learn from us. And we're trying to get around and talk to you all during the event, and we'll be at the parties tonight and tomorrow, and we just want to be able to exchange ideas and get smarter together. So thanks again for coming. We have a little bit of time for Q&A. If anyone's interested in asking a couple questions, we can do that now.
Please head over to the mic. So there's a mic in both of the aisles. So if you'd like to ask a question, jump on over there, and we'd love to answer your question. The first person who gets there has to sing.
Whoa.
Just joking. Maybe you rap.
Wrecking Ball.
Hey there. First of all, thanks for an interesting presentation. That was fascinating. One thing I was wondering about is, are you guys seeing any evidence of sale fatigue? Because that's what a lot of developers are wondering, and we don't have the same data as you do. So are people still as every single Christmas, are they like, yes, I'm really excited about this, or is it dropping off?
Yeah, that's always a concern from developers, especially folks that are kind of getting into their first couple times being promoted. What we actually see, and obviously we have lots of data on this, we see kind of the opposite. Your natural inclination would be, I'm going to run this big promotion at a very steep discount, and my daily run rate's going to kind of fall off after that. The opposite happens when you run a promotion. What you do is you end up getting a bunch more people into your community and excited about the game, and those people tell their friends. And so what we see is the opposite. We run a big promotion. You see kind of a spike of sales, but then as it levels out after, your sales tend to be a touch higher than they were before the sale, because you've emboldened a bunch of new customers about your game, and they're evangelizing for you and talking to each other about it.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Hi, over here.
Hey.
I just have a general question. I'm not even sure if it's relevant anymore, but especially regarding things like early access and the green light. What happens with the ESRB? Are they still giving ratings for those games? Do early access games eventually need to be rated by the ESRB, or is that just not relevant at all anymore?
It's really up to the developer how they want to handle ratings. On Steam, we'll post whatever rating you give us, but
The developers handle it, or
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so you're not required to actually, because I thought that you actually had to have every game eventually rated by the ESRB. that you're saying?
Yeah, that's up to you and a relationship between you and the SRB.
Oh, okay.
So you just tell us what you want us to put on the page, and we'll put it on there. But if you don't have a rating, that's fine on Steam.
All right, gentlemen, Steam in China, yes, no, when, if ever, why not?
We are definitely interested in China, but we don't have any solid plans right now for Steam in China. I think some of you probably know that Dota 2 is in China, and it's been a huge success. But there's many business problems to solve there, and it's obviously a super rich market, but it's not something you just turn on overnight like you could turn on reals. So it is something we're interested in, but it's not something that we have concrete plans for expansion right now.
Hey, is there any option to transfer cash directly into another user's wallet? Because right now I know there's only the gift card option.
Not yet. We do have plans, yes, for e-gifting, and we decided not to ship it before the winter sale because of the load and support cost potentially around that. So we do have plans for it, and especially with parental controls and with having the ability to have accounts for your children that are limited and things like that. It's really important to be able to transfer money. So you're going to see that as a more and more important piece going forward. So I can imagine for my kid, I want to be able to give him an allowance and give him money, right? And that would be the way to do it. I don't want to go to 7-Eleven every week. So we do have plans for that, but I don't have an exact date yet.
Perfect. Thank you.
Awesome, yeah. I'm about to release my second game on Steam reasonably soon. And the first game was a kind of very short story game. So people played it, they put it down, they haven't thought about it probably since. My question is, while I have super engaged players who follow me on Twitter or on my mailing list, go to Community Hub, stuff like that, I also have these hundreds of thousands of players who bought my game, may well have liked it, and might want to hear about the new one. I'm just interested, are there any kind of channels opening up to get to those players who maybe aren't checking the Community Hub anymore because they're not engaged long term?
Yeah, there are. We do have ways of being able to contact customers that are part of your original community and letting them know that you have something coming out. So you should talk to us about that, and we can help you out there. Also, I think it's important to. One of the reasons for, and I understand it's a story game and it's harder, but one of the reasons for trying to keep a game evolving and iterating is that you can keep a community engaged and continue to talk to them. And when you do have something coming out, they're already actively engaged.
A lesson I've definitely learned.
Yeah. And so that's why we preach that as much as we can. And now I think you'll probably do that with your second game, would be my guess. But yeah, you should talk to us and we can help you figure that out.
Hi. You talked about different languages and different currencies. Can you be a little bit more specific which language, which currency go in this year?
Yeah, the plan is, so our target territories for 2014, Australia, New Zealand, Canada, Turkey, Ukraine, Norway, Southeast Asia, and Japan. And Mexico. See, I knew I'd forget one.
Someone was paying attention.
Thank you.
All right, so we have the Steam app for phones and stuff. How long until we can buy games for our phones on Steam?
Yeah, fair question. It's something we're always kind of looking at and considering. We have to make all kinds of trade-offs on exciting things we could do, and that's one of them. We just haven't quite gotten there yet. So there's no concrete plans to do that. We want to continue to expand the mobile app because, as you saw, it is being kind of well received and people are using it. But we haven't figured out a plan yet to involve selling games on mobile.
Cool. Thanks.
Mm-hmm.
Hi. Are there any plans to open up the sort of tell publishers about the analytics within the store page, within their own store pages, so they can better inform themselves on how people are interacting with the different elements of their page, how that conversion is working in terms of people who arrive on it to the ones that click through to either different packages, different DLC, or different parts of that page, like community hubs and so forth?
Yes, the Google Analytics piece we talked about is a step in that direction. We think that's important, but right now we're not able to dedicate the resources to kind of build it, which is like a lot of things at Valve. But we get that question a lot, and it's something we know is important. So it's definitely something we're thinking about. It's just when will we be able to get to it is more the question than will we.
Sure. All right, thanks.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, first of all, thank you for saying that Japan and the yen is going to be an actual business push this year, because I know a lot of fans in Japan have been asking for yen pricing for ages. But on the note of Japan, one of the real big challenges for PC and thus Steam in Japan has actually always been hardware. It's often seen as rather expensive and large and bulky to get into. With a lot of the really small, compact Steam machines that are being offered, are Valve and the hardware partners thinking of trying to make a real proper push into Japan with Steam machines and the new business model and whatnot, or has that not been considered so much?
I believe that's the plan. It's really a question for the OEMs to answer. But many of the OEMs we are working with, if you look, they do have a history of shipping great hardware in Japan. So it's definitely, I totally agree with you, from being to Japan a few times, noticed a few things. One, hey, they love to transact with cash.
Yes.
Two, they love to collect things. And three, they don't like big PCs and things. They don't have room for them, right? And so that we think, yes, the living room the TV is definitely the place, right? That would be most ideal for gaming. So we don't know, though, but there are a bunch of the OEMs are here at the event. So if you are able to talk to one of them, that would be the right person to ask about their plans.
All right.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Thanks.
Yep.
Hey. So, I think one thing that's on a lot of our minds is just with all the new games coming onto Steam at an ever-increasing pace, obviously the average visibility for a given game is going to go down, and one way to combat that is, visibility tools and stuff, and you guys are working hard on that. It seems like the other aspect of that is just growing the overall Steam audience, and it seems like with the Steam machines, you guys are kind of going in the direction of, we want to move the existing audience into the living room. And I'm just kind of wondering if you have like a grand plan for growing the audience in maybe new directions, or bringing people onto Steam that maybe aren't a traditional PC gaming background, maybe open up things for, people who aren't used to necessarily buying PC games. So if you could just talk to that a little bit.
Yeah, I think there are a couple things to address there. One, it's important for us, and we probably should have said it in our presentation, but our effort to get into the living room does not mean we're abandoning what we currently do now on the desktop. That's really important. That's where our users are currently. They love playing games in their office and in their bedroom and on their desktop, and we're going to continue to support that in a bunch of different ways. On the living room piece and finding new customers, we're definitely concentrating on our existing users right now. We look at this like any other Steam feature, where we're being asked by our customers to give them something, and we take that very seriously. And so we're accommodating them, and we're opening Steam up into new areas of the house. I think anytime you introduce something into the living room, you are hoping that you're going to start to attract some new customers. It's not going to be an immediate push from us. I think it'll happen organically, where people that do adopt a Steam machine that have played on Steam for a long time, they'll have friends come over and they'll see that, hey, you have a really, I haven't even seen this on the market. That's a cool design and a cool product. Where do I get that? So I think you'll start to organically get new customers in, but it's not our initial goal. This is really meant to serve our existing customers.
Right now, there's no way for game developers to communicate with the community, not by public the information, but by pushing the news to the users. Even Apple on iOS, they have a push notification, which user signs on, but still push notification. Right now, a lot of users have Steam always running in the tray, on the Windows, I mean. With the Steam machine, there will be even more always online Steam users. Are you planning adding push notifications of any kind to game developers to communicate with their audience? I mean, Steam audience is very big in general, and my audience as a game developer is smaller than the whole Steam audience, so I want to communicate them only.
Yeah, we actually we just shipped if you go to the Steam developer group, you can actually see that we just shipped a feature where you can actually, from your game, like turn-based games, for instance, can actually do push notifications basically through through the Steam client. They can say, hey, it's your turn, or you should do this, or you can actually push things to users. In addition, if users are in your community hub and they have subscribed to that, which many of them do when they start doing their first post or what else not, when you push an announcement, so if you're in your community hub and you go to the admin tab and you decide any like major announcement that you make, you should do as an announcement. And when you do that, it has more weight. It sits at the top of the community hub, but it also will notify customers that have subscribed to your community hub. So there's sort of two mild ways to do that right now, but the customer has to subscribe to wanting those from you.
Hi, I'm really excited to hear about all the new countries that are going to be supported in the next year, but I'm curious, China makes sense because of all the challenges with that market, but there's another really large market with an overwhelmingly large PC user base. I'm wondering why Korea isn't on that list.
So some of the decisions about what territories to target for 2014 were based on growth. So where did we see the most growth per capita, per user on Steam? And so we looked at that, and then we said, hey, we're seeing these markets really grow. We should actually focus on them. And Korea is definitely interesting to us. It didn't make the initial group, but it doesn't mean that it isn't a place that we'll be looking to expand quickly.
Finding the right price point can be a challenge, at least we've found internally. And based off a sale, increases, this many more copies sold. Do you guys have any thoughts as to, based off all the data you're collecting, to be able to suggest price points that if you drop your price by $5, we expect to see 10% increase in revenue because of that price point mismatch and that kind of stuff?
We don't have the data broken down like that necessarily. I think a couple things. One, I'd encourage you to use the developer forum for that kind of question. There's a lot of people in there that have had personal experience and played around with different pricing. And then we have seen a lot of games come out. We have a pretty good hunch for where things should fall in terms of pricing. And so we can be someone for you to kind of bounce questions off there. And we're probably pretty good about sort of figuring out the right price range. But really, if we've learned anything from the data that we've received, it's that we're wrong more than we're right about that sort of stuff. So it's really a feel that you have to have for your own game and your own community. And getting opinions, I think, helps. But ultimately, you've kind of got to make that decision.
Yeah, probably the best person to give you that answer is probably another game developer of a similar game as yours on Steam in the developer group who's like, we learned this, and it's amazing how open and quickly they're responding to each other in those discussions. But DJ is totally right. We have a really hard time sort of because we don't know the game as well as you do, right, and your community as well as you do. So us deciding there isn't like a general trend that like, hey, every game should be $10 that's in this genre. It just doesn't fit. It really depends on the content, the game, the levels, the community, the expectations, all types of different things. So I think that'd be the best place for that question.
I don't know if this has already been said. I arrived a little late, but how do you guys feel about Steam Greenlight? And if it gets changed, how do you guys want to maintain the quality of games, make sure it's not oversaturated by low-quality games?
So Greenlight was something that we had to institute to solve a problem. And so we did. And it actually has been a really useful tool to help us identify quality titles and get them on the platform. But it also shone a light internally for us on what I talked about a little bit earlier, which is our tools were in a state where we couldn't ship the amount of games that we wanted to. And so that helped us really identify that problem and fix it. So if you've been paying attention to the Greenlight story, it's we've shipped a lot more games in the past. I think we've shipped 150 games through Greenlight, and we've greenlit something like 600 games in the last year, basically. So Greenlight is headed in a good direction. We're able to get a lot of titles through that process quickly and get them to customers. I think in an ideal world, we'd get to a place where we don't need Greenlight, and we can ship all the high quality content that's coming out, which kind of comes to your other question. We don't really have a process yet for how we're going to identify, which titles should be on Steam, and we really don't want to be that gatekeeper. I think we'd like to get to a place where anyone who makes a game can put it on Steam, and the market will kind of decide if it's something that's going to be successful or not. And that's where the discoverability piece comes in, where we have to really do a good job of figuring out how to showcase all the games that are coming through the platform. So that's what we're working on now.
Hey, actually, speaking to that same topic with Steam Greenlight, as sort of a recently greenlit title, I was wondering, do you have the ability to favorite a game when you're on the Greenlight page and you thumbs up, and you also can favorite it? And I was wondering if you guys had any plans on providing us tools to, or at least providing the users that chose to favorite a game on Greenlight to receive updates about the game, because obviously it's on Greenlight, so it's not released yet. So it'd be great to be able to provide users that chose to thumbs up or at least favorite the game, give them maybe some news updates whenever I post on my Greenlight page a news update, or maybe at least the ability to send them a notification, hey, the game actually got greenlit, it's been released, you can get it now. Do you guys have any plans on doing something like that?
Those are great suggestions. We actually, it's funny because we've been talking about this a bunch for the last few months. We're like, hey, as we're increasing and improving the way that notifications work, we want that notification not only to work in Steam, we want it to work on mobile, we want it to work across everywhere. And so that's a great suggestion. And we are working on sort of how do we augment communication. We want to make sure we're not bothering customers. We want to make sure that it's content that they want. So right now, when you subscribe to a community hub, we think, hey, they do want announcements, and so we're working hard on finding ways to do that, and hopefully our track record over the last 6 months have sort of shown we're heading that way. But that's great feedback. Thank you.
I think we're getting the time call.
Yep.
So I think we'd like to thank you. Those of you who have questions, if you want to, we can talk to you quickly on the side, but. Just want to thank you guys again for coming and being here so late with us.
Thank you.